Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go over oil, natural gas, and solar. Uh, Oil is looking like it could potentially turn around here. Show you in the charts what I'm looking at. Solar is doing fantastic. Natural gas looking a little bit toppy, but we're coming into winter season and I'm not selling anything, guys. I don't sell any of these things. I don't trade in and out. What I do is I identify value with ratios. It's an asset versus an asset based off history. I identify what's low or cheap in terms of valuations. And then I weight the entire market condition length for these valuations to become overvalued. So I go and buy them at undervalued states and sell them at overvalued states. And that time frame usually takes 5 to 10 years. That's about the time frame. And I think we have bottomed. We are starting to come back up, and that is what 2021 is known as for commodities, is the bottom. Hopefully, and hopefully that remains the case, that we continue this momentum up. And again, there's going to be pullbacks along the way. It's not going to be an easy hold. But solar, just to give you a little bit of info on solar, solar's got a lot of bounce, a lot of volatility. You can win and you can lose with that volatility. And if you come up with I call it a betting strategy, an investment strategy, whatever you want to call it, where you spread your money out amongst a bunch of different investments and across different sectors that are high risk, high reward. And we're really starting to push the volatility here. And you spread it out to reduce your risk. Because you could get smoked in one sector, but the other sector could do very well. The goal isn't necessarily to win on absolutely everything. That's not necessarily the goal. The goal is to find a few investments that get you a 20 times your money. So if you put $5,000 in 5 different companies, so it's $1,000 each, and you get a 20-fold return, you turned $1,000 into $20,000. That's really, really good. And it doesn't even matter what the other ones do. Even though if you hit the sector right, usually that entire sector does very well. And I got lucky enough in oil to partake in something like that. So oil, natural gas, and solar, let's dive in here. I'll give you my financial opinion. That's all it is in these sectors. So what do we have here with oil? I'm going to draw on the trend line that we've all been watching. I'm going to start it here. I'm going to run it across. We are trying to break out of this trend line, and we haven't done so yet. But looking at the right-hand side here, we sold off, but today we tried selling off, but it got bought right back up, almost a reversal pattern, which is a hammer pattern here, which is a bottom reversal. We could try to take another run. It's very similar to this reversal pattern here, where it reversed, and then we came on higher again. It reverses, and then we come on higher. And we could come up to the 84 level. We have to see if this breaks or if we're going to be soft on the buyers and it rolls back over again for a little bit of a pullback. But it looks like we could potentially go higher here to the upside over the next day, 2, 3, something like that. Natural gas, we've got a bullish engulfing here. We got a big sell-off day here. The buyers and sellers are dueling it out at this 625-ish level. There's sellers there, and there's buyers there, and they're dueling it out. And let them duel it out. In all honesty, the short term doesn't really matter as much to me. I'm playing this for the long term. So let's look to see what the oil companies and natural gas companies, let's see what they look like. So here's SM Energy, and I'll be honest, guys, this looks fantastic. The sellers really didn't do anything here. They sold it off a little bit. So we had a bigger buying pressure, smaller selling pressure. And it created this pattern where it came up in fewer days than it came down. And I think this is probably going to resolve itself upward. So SM Energy looks good. And CDEV looks very similar to SM Energy. We had a nice good drive at $6.50. When I mean drive, we drove out of this downtrend, popped higher, pulled back, and that's usually when you see another move higher. We also have a cup and handle pattern in this mix. I'll put the line across here. This is the cup, this is the handle, and what that is a continuation pattern. We came from up, downward, upward. hit it. And now we broke out, back tested, and we might take off here. I mean, this is something to watch. And CPE is doing something very similar to both SM and CDEV on the right-hand side. We're just putting in this gigantic cup and handle pattern. And hopefully we break to the upside. Now, Sandridge Energy, this is more of a unhedged natural gas company. This thing looks fantastic, guys. Absolutely fantastic. We've got a bullish engulfing pattern right here. So we came down. This is a reversal candlestick. And then we came back up, pulled back a little bit, and we got another bullish engulfing candlestick. I think this is going to take a run at its $14 highs here very soon. Very, very soon. Probably next week. And it could even be tomorrow. But that looks very good to try to break higher. Comstock's not looking too bad. I mean, I wouldn't say this is a beautiful chart, but it's coming down. It didn't pull back very much. We shot back higher, and again, the sellers aren't coming out and just whomping this lower. If we were going to see something come lower, we would see a bunch of bearish engulfings. There's one here, but we're not seeing it again. It's like the buyers are sticking in here and wanting to push this up. So that one looks okay. Would I be a buyer at this level up here? It's up to you. If you have a very long-term horizon, I mean, you could do a sprinkle master. I call it the sprinkle masters, or a bad case of the sprinkles, where you kind of just sprinkle some money in when these things start to turn and you start seeing some bottoming patterns and price movement. So like right here, this is a hammer pattern where we could go back up, and then it hit its resistance up here, and then it could come back and sweep again. But it's up to you. And if you look at this from a very long-term perspective, it might be a really good entry point. On the short term, it might not be. It's tough to say. Now, Reconnaissance Energy Africa, it looks like it's finding some footing at $3.93, $4. We have fallen. There is the risk that this thing could close this gap down to $3-ish. So there is risk out there. We did enter this pattern, and I should have been better. I should have known better. We did enter this pattern from the top side down, but I thought they were going to come out with some good news, and I was wrong on the short term. Long term, I'm sticking with them. I haven't sold anything. I'm just holding on. Grand Tier Energy looks fantastic. We got this pullback. We shot on higher with lots of buying pressure, good volume, coming on up, and then the sell-off this is all they had for the sell-off, like a sideways, barely down movement. Nice big buying pressure again. So this one looks fantastic to continue higher. It looks really good. And Tellurian looks really good. And we're putting a pattern in here. We broke this pattern here. That one. So that's a check there. And then we've got this other one that's forming right here. And I'm going to throw another one that's coming down on the bottom side here. So that's what we're looking at. And I think when we break this thing, we could see a nice run up higher. I do have my Tellurian shares. I've been holding them the entire time. I haven't sold anything. Just riding it higher, and this thing's about to break at any second. Looks very good for Tell. Crew Energy is looking very good as well. And I don't want to tell you that everything looks good, but it does look good. I mean, there's a little bit of things that if you nitpicked it, there's a bearish engulfing pattern here, and there's a couple of big down days. We have a bullish engulfing pattern right here with this up day engulfing the one before it. So the buyers and sellers are battling it out. This could head a little bit lower, but coming into this, we came from the bottom side with a lot of buying pressure. And then the pullback is just muting somewhere in this range here probably. Probably has a couple more bounces in it before moving on up, potentially. But if oil takes off, I don't see why this wouldn't take off with it. Same with natural gas. Now, Northern Oil and Gas, again, these all look really good. You get this big drive. This is a bullish engulfing here. Big buying pressure. The sellers tried to drive this thing lower, but this is all they can muster. And we have a higher low. We drove up again. And we got this little pullback that's ensuing. And I think with the buying pressure being stronger than the selling pressure and the way this looks, it just looks like we're going to continue to move on up for Northern Oil and Gas. And remember, I'm speaking in terms of medium and long term. I'm not speaking in the very, very short term volatile areas. Now this is Crescent Point. It's another one that I own. I'm drawing this kind of in here. So we've got some resistance coming through here. We came back up and we broke through it, and now we're sitting on top of this support. It was resistance, now it's support. We're throwing a bullish engulfing hammer pattern. So it opened up here, it came down, buyers bought it all the way back up, and the momentum's coming back up to the upside. I think this is going to go higher, probably tomorrow. This one looks really good for a long-term move higher. Crescent Point. Now Tan, my boy Tan. Way to go, Tan! Oh, what is that? That was like Bannerman in the back or something. Well, anyway, we've got Tan here, which is solar. And where it started, you know what, guys? In fact, I'm gonna have to do something here. I really do. Let me pull this up and draw all over it because this thing looks fantastic. It's given me the heebie-jeebies, maybe. That's a word. So we broke this here. Look, this is awesome, guys. We broke that. And what they usually do is you break, and then they sit above the breakout point. And just to let you know, Crescent Point's doing this right now. That put a big wick at the bottom and a big candlestick like that, which is going to go higher. So this is just like a few days ahead of it is Tan versus Crescent Point, which is, I mean, it's right there sitting on top of its resistance line, or support line, I should say. I think that's probably going to head on up. But you look at this. We have a bullish, piercing, bullish, engulfing. I'm looking, we have a hammer pattern down here. Looking through. There's good buying support all in this area down here. And that's why this stock can't get down there. So it was sandwiched between this upper resistance line and this lower support line. And where I kind of got scared was when I saw these guys dive bombing out. It reversed, and I was like, oh, I got to get back in. And I've been holding it ever since. And this guy, it's moving on higher. It closed very strong this day right here. And I think we are going to do this. Higher. Looks very good. So go Tan. We love you, Tan. So there's Tan, looking fantastic. And look at Beam. Oh, man. And we're not talking Jim Beam here, guys. We're talking Beam Global. This thing looks fantastic. I mean, look at the buying pressure. Look at the volume. We got a hammer pattern a couple days ago. They tried selling off, and the buyers came in here and whomped it. Now we just got to break out of this little area in here. It's sticky. It's got some sellers and buyers from previous areas. And if we can break out of here, I think we're going to have some fun. And we'll see what tomorrow. We might get what's called a bloody nose tomorrow. What we did is we broke out, and it may go down a little bit tomorrow. It's called a bloody nose. And it's going to go right back to this support line, and then we could probably take off. Maybe it pulls back, pulls up higher, but it finished strong. It's got good volume. It's looking good. And Sun Power, way to go, Sunny. Guys, I love these charts because they look so good. I can't believe that I was afraid. I was almost doubting myself, but I know better. And we did a double bottom basically, and we're breaking out right now of this kind of U-shaped pattern. We had a low there, some higher lows, bullish engulfing, bullish piercing. It looked really good. Another bullish engulfing here. That's when I got interested again. I was like, I got to get in. And we're moving on up, and we broke out of this pattern. Looks fantastic. Looks really good. It looks like Sunworks is trying to put in something that works. And we've got the downtrend line. And we're coming on down. We're trying to break back up. And we've got good buying pressure, a little bit of selling pressure. And let's see if we can break here. Money flows are coming into Tan, so hopefully Sun works. So I call this one SOL. And that's something I can't really talk too much about on here. But look at that, guys. We got a break. Break to the upside. Looks really strong. Finished strong today, 5.18. This can move on higher. We have a bullish engulfing pattern where this move started was right here. So I think we're gonna move on higher. I think it looks fantastic. So hopefully you know, do whatever you want with this, guys. Fuel cell's looking really good. I like it a lot. Bullish piercing. We came up, slow leak off of sellers. I always look for that. A big move higher under shorter duration, and then a slow leak off. Another pump higher, slow leak off. Now we're creating this double bottom. We have a higher low. We've got a nice big buying pressure, and then the selling pressure came right back. Now we've got buying pressure, and the selling pressure didn't go as low. We're creating another higher low. So low, higher low, and I think we could potentially move quite a bit higher. This is a huge volatile stock, and be patient, guys. This is one you just kind of have to hang on. And Plug Power is another one that's about to break out. It's in the same sector. It's kind of the hydrogen stuff. And again, guys, I don't know. I'm not an expert in this. I'm just kind of charting this stuff. And I would say it's somewhere in this range there where we started coming up. We have this big bullish engulfing pattern right here where it bottomed. Came up with good buying pressure. Slow leak off of sellers. We're coming back up. We broke out of this resistance line, and now we're moving higher with good volume. Yeehaw. Yeehaw. So all these, the alternative energy sector looks good. God, it looks good. These charts look really good. They look like almost, I don't know if they looked as good as the bottom of the oil companies in 2020, but man, guys, these look really good. And I'm not telling you guys to just go bombarding in these things. They do have some risk, but to me, money's flowing in it. And we're breaking patterns. We're going to the upside. Big buying pressure, small selling pressure. Everything looks good, and oil looks like it's going to continue higher. That's what I see. Natural gas, we'll see. I mean, I that doesn't look as strong as these other two, but I'm not gonna bet against it. There's no way. So I'm holding on to these things. They look incredibly good. Man, they look good. But you guys do what you want. Again, this is just my financial opinion. I'm describing what I'm doing. I do own all of these companies that you've seen, and even I own Enphase as well. I got really lucky there. I bought it a little while back. It was breaking out of its downtrend. It popped 24% higher. I think it was up maybe another 4% today. But yeah, these are looking really good. The rare earth metals also, I'll do something on that, but they're looking pretty good as well. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.